Welcome back into the Sports Source, this segment of our program brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. It's a perfect time to get to the Smoky Mountains, folks. Just beautiful up there, tucked into your own cozy, or if you're looking for it, massive cabin. Great views. You get some on streams. You get some just right there on the back of a mountain. And you always get free parking in downtown Gatlinburg when you go with Parkside Cabin Rentals. Trust the Ogle family. They've been doing it since the national park opened, literally. When it comes to hospitality up there in Sevier County, they are the kings. Parkside Cabin Rental. All right, let me show you our first, and we're going to do 5 at a time. So we're going to be kind of quick here with some of these guys. I'm just going to run through the list. You guys give me a yay, nay. If we want to talk about somebody more in depth, we can. Matt Campbell, that'd be a heck of a hire if you could get him from Iowa State. He's talked to a couple of NFL teams this past year. I just don't see any reason why he would leave Iowa State for Tennessee in its current position.
I think he's sitting waiting for Michigan. It's generally the book on Matt Campbell. I think he'd be a huge hire, but I'm skeptical that Tennessee can bring him in.
Yeah.
I like him a lot, but I'm also told he has a $9 million buyout.
Hey, what's that to Tennessee? We already saw that.
That's what loans are for, Jimmy.
I don't know why I brought that up.
That would only be $7.7 million if Fulmer would give his 1.3 back. All right. Jamie, anybody else on Campbell there? All right, Jamie Chadwell, of course, from Caryville, Anderson County kid, done well at several stops, actually. I like the fact it's been small schools, but he's done well at different stops, at least. It's more than just one place. Problem is that nobody talks about, you go back, he's got some NCAA issues. Whether he was cleared of the issues or not, David, we were debating that in between segments here. They had to strip some wins away from Charleston Southern when he was the head coach there. He also was suspended a game for an NCAA issue. For all the talk they've done of the compliance stuff and the integrity stuff, they would have to get some answers before going to Jamie Chadwell there.
And 2 people told me that they really like him as a coach, but they think that he is too young. This job would be too big for him right now.
Yeah, it's hard to take a guy like that and say, with where this job is, if this job didn't have NCAA violations, if this job was rolling off of 5 and 6, 6 and 6, and we needed somebody to go to the next level, right, and we're not having to rebuild from the ashes, he's a guy that you plug in and say that maybe give him his next shot. But I have a hard time seeing a guy like that to be able to go into this situation and have to do all those things from the ground up.
Yeah, no experience in big-time programs, too, which would be a huge concern.
Yeah, as an assistant or anything. That's right. Okay. Next, who we got there is Sonny Dykes, which was not a name I expected to see. Supposedly, he's already been vetted by Parker Executive Search, who UT has hired. We were discussing in between breaks here. I know his Danny White's sister is in the athletic department at SMU, where Dykes is now. Jimmy, you pointed out that
he was head coach at Louisiana Tech in football when Mike White, Danny White's brother, was the coach at Louisiana Tech.
So there are some family connections to Sonny Dykes. He's done well at Louisiana Tech, got the Cal job, didn't go well, although that's a very tough job. And then he comes back and he's done a really good job at SMU. That's an unusual hire.
Tough sell for fans, too. And he's a dyed-in-the-wool Texas guy, Spike Dykes' son. I don't know that Tennessee would be super attractive for him to walk into that. SMU is more built for success, and he's been around a while. He's not a spring chicken.
The money would be different than what he's ever made.
Yeah, that's true.
I also heard he's kind of thin-skinned, and it wouldn't play very well here.
Wouldn't be good. You hear his name, and you have to do what I did, which is go look it up and go, who the heck is this guy? Right.
All right, next, Tony Elliott. Offensive coordinator at Clemson, hot name. Everybody's and supposedly Parker has already vetted him. Supposedly, White liked him a lot the last time he was looking for a coach at UCF. That's all fine and dandy. This guy may be the next James Franklin that had never done anything before, and just comes in and builds something. But if I'm doing the hire, I don't feel like I can hire a guy and bring him in, especially with the NCAA sanctions hanging over.
I like him a lot, but here's what I've looked at, in my opinion. The assistant coaches that have taken over SEC programs in this league have taken over really good programs. When Mark Richt went to Georgia, Georgia was in pretty good shape. When Kirby Smart went to Georgia, they won 10 games. I could see hiring somebody if you were handing him a program like when Fulmer took over. Look how good it was. But I think in this situation, I'd probably want to go with somebody that's been a head coach at a higher level.
I think Franklin would be the closest thing because of where Vanderbilt was when he took over as an assistant with no head coach. Dan Mullen did at Mississippi State. But, again, I don't think that I would venture into a startup. I mean, the other question I would have is, are the players at Clemson great because he's a tremendous offense coordinator, or is he a great offense coordinator because they have a top 5 recruiting class every year?
Yeah,
And they
and
play
I think
the
for all,
ACC.
you might find the guy, but for every James Franklin, there's a graveyard of 20 other assistants whose names we're not going to
Well,
be
one
able
of
to
them
call
named
right
Jeremy
now.
Pruitt.
Yeah, and I just don't know that Tennessee, especially as you guys said, in the shape that it's in now, is a great spot for a first-time head coach. Just the degree of difficulty off the charts. Maybe he's that guy, but risky.
The last one from Cincinnati, Luke Fickle, former Ohio State assistant coach, Urban Meyer guy. Look, that'd be a tremendous name to get. He can sit where he is and wait till next year and probably get his pick of great jobs. Unless he sees that Cincinnati's going to fall off a cliff, then why take the Tennessee gig? It's my view. I don't see him taking it.
Doesn't make sense if I'm Fickle, but maybe.
No, he's going to have a better year. He's going to have a pretty good year next year, Cincinnati, I think. So I think he sits and see what the number looks like.
Yeah, I would think so too. All right, that means they'll hire Luke Fickle. When we come back, we're going to run through 5 more names, including Lane Kiffin. Come on back on the Sports Source.